Hey, what's up, everybody? This your boy C has some motivated minds. Hey, this video y'all about to watch, I started working on it probably about a week ago, but I'm just getting around to posting it. But it's about this young lady by the name of Gwen Berry, who recently qualified third in the hammer throw at the Olympic trials. And when it came down to them playing the national anthem, she didn't take the podium. And y'all know how things go when folks feel like someone has disrespected the national anthem. So the media started mediating, the politicians started politicianing, and the usual suspects started doing what they do. You know, I saw it on places like yahoo.com and MSN in the news feeds, but, you know, I didn't really see anybody posting about it on the book or on Instagram. I also saw it on YouTube. You know, I was watching some of the interviews on YouTube and it caught my attention. And some of the names that they were mentioning, you know, when these people start getting on their soapbox about patriotism, they were telling half truths. So I just couldn't let that ride. I hope y'all like the video. You know, if you like it, you know, please feel free to share. Also subscribe and hit that like button. Hey, this your boy C Hess with Motivated Minds. Hey, I'm out.
Got it on lock, nigga made it to the top. Why they want change on me? Looking like a leak. I cause a bug down brick on the goddamn chains on me.
Let me turn this down right quick. I was going, everybody. This is your boy C Hess with Motivated Minds. I just want to talk to y'all real quick about a story that is gaining some traction, especially among the conservative networks. And I'm talking about a story about this Olympic hammer thrower by the name of Gwen Berry. They just did the Olympic trials about a week ago, and she qualified third in the hammer for the Olympics. And while she was, you know, getting ready to take the podium, they played the national anthem, and basically she didn't take the podium. And as the story goes, she turned her back while it was playing. And she also, if you look at the pictures or you follow the story, you know, she took a shirt that talked about her being an activist, and, you know, she placed it on her head, and so on and so forth. And of course, as you know, the conservative news networks jumped all on this. Because here it is again. We got another activist protesting something. And, you know, they always got something to say when it comes down to the flag or, you know, the national anthem, you know, what they consider someone being, or someone not being patriotic. So, but I just want to show y'all something. And I want to see if y'all catch what I caught. So check this out.
And disrespect our anthem. It shouldn't be allowed. When you look back and think about greats like Jesse Owens, who overcame real racism and overcame, you know, all the issues that came along with that, who was a grandson of a slave. Who was the son of a sharecropper. He stood on the podium and proudly represented this nation. And she claims to be standing up against racism. Well, I have news for her, that there are a lot that came before her that went through real racism. And the only reason they got through it is because they live in America, where we have a constitution that allows us to go after our freedoms and to become whoever we want to become.
So there goes person number one. And you know what he said? He talked about Jesse Owens. Okay, so let's watch this.
Today, that they continue to face the same challenges that they faced in the 50s. Or let's go back to the 1936 Olympics in Germany, where Adolf Hitler put Nazism on full display, and you had Jesse Owens as a true patriot and athlete representing the United States. He could have taken that opportunity to talk about racism, pervasive racism in the United States, but he took that opportunity to represent what America is best at, which is unifying people of different backgrounds who look very differently but share the common beliefs together.
There goes person number two. And guess who she talked about?
Jesse Owens. Okay, so let's check out this person.
No, I don't. And quite honestly, I don't care when the national anthem was played. It doesn't matter. 5:20, 4:15. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to give you some names here. We've had some issues in this country, especially as a black man. When I go to Tommy Smith, John Carlos, Jesse Owens, who they had issues. They fought. They wanted dignity, but they also wanted a seat at the table. They wanted to show how much they loved their country, how much they belonged, and human rights issues, and they fought for it. This isn't it. Even with taking a knee on the baseball game, I have no problem with a professional athlete being a citizen, taking a respectful knee.
And person number 3, guess who he mentioned? Yep, Jesse Owens. But not only did he mention Jesse Owens, he also mentioned Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Y'all do know Tommy Smith and John Carlos, right? Now, you may not be familiar with the names, but I bet you familiar with this. Both of those were 200-meter runners. I want to say they attended college in San Jose State, but they made the 1968 Olympics, and they threw up that power fist, you know, which meant solidarity, and they stood for the cause. So not only did this joker mention Jesse Owens, he mentioned John Carlos and Tommy Smith. So I guess Jesse Owens is going to be the go-to person that they're going to mention when we start talking about the protest, any activists decide to, protest in the Olympics. So since they want to mention Jesse Owens, let's talk about Jesse Owens. So Jesse Owens was a sprinter. He won 4 gold medals in the 1936 Olympics that was held in Berlin. Now, if you know anything about those Olympics and, during that time, this was when we started seeing, the rise of the Nazi Party and Hitler and his, promoting the Aryan race as the dominant race, that they were far superior than anybody else. Jesse Owens came along and he just totally put that whole theory to shame. And what he pretty much did was he embarrassed Hitler. And when he during the gold medal ceremony and afterwards, Hitler did not greet him. He did not shake his hands or any of that. So of course, the folk here in America, Jesse Owens was their champion. And like we see today, anybody in this country who either stands up against communism or makes this country look good, against anyone who is deemed an enemy to this course, they're gonna champion him as a hero. So this is what they did to to Jesse Owens. So now again, we talking 1936. They were still lynching people in this country. The Klan was in full effect. So but here it is, this black man, and he's the hero, of this country. So in those interviews with those people, they talked about the great things that Jesse Owens did and how he stood up to Hitler, and she should be more like Jesse Owens and proud of his country, and if she can't, then she needs to just quit and all this. But okay. But what they didn't tell you was this. When Jesse Owens returned back to this country, he got slapped in the face with Jim Crow laws. Y'all remember Jim Crow? Y'all remember them laws, Jim Crow? Another thing that they did not tell you is that Jesse Owens did not get a telegraph from the president. He didn't get invited to the White House. He didn't get a handshake from the president. He didn't get none of that. The trips to the White House and all that at that time were reserved for white athletes. So this is, to me, very typical in this country. So on one hand, you want to champion this man as a hero for what he did, but then when he gets back to this country, Jesse Owens has to go to the back of the bus. And he has to go into the back of restaurants. He can't drink out of the same water fountain as white people. He can't use the same the restrooms as white people. But yet, this man just represented this country, and when he got here, these are the things that he's subjected to. See, those are the things that they didn't tell y'all. And this other cat mentioned John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Well, let's talk about it, because he wants to talk about what they did, and that they had, basically they fought real racism. Well, what the hell they think we fight now? What, we don't fight real racism now? Something that he did not tell you about Tommy Smith and John Carlos was the fact that once they came down off that podium, they were kicked out of the Olympic Village. And they were ostracized in this country for years. So my thing is, if we gonna talk about stuff like this, and we gonna bring up names, if we gonna talk about Jesse Owens, and we gonna talk about Tommy Smith and John Carlos, don't tell half the story. Tell the whole story. Tell exactly what happened to them when they returned to this country. But that's not what they do. They only tell you half the story. You also have people in the uproar. If you read some of the comments, if you follow the story, they want to talk about kicking her off the team. Why? What did she do wrong? I mean, she's exercising her First Amendment right. We do have the right to protest. And this is the thing that really kills me when it comes down to folks, when it comes down to protesting, is that they want to tell you how to protest. And I'm going to go back to Colin Kaepernick. I just talked about him in the last video, and Muhammad Ali. Okay, they want to say that it's okay to protest, but then they want to tell you how to protest. To me, people in this country are so hypocritical. It's just funny how, they want to cheer the athletes, but then when they do something that people don't like, then they want to criticize them. They want to call them un-American. Why didn't they keep that same energy when them folks stormed the Capitol on January 6th? They didn't keep that same energy then. So if we're going to be fair, let's be fair. If y'all want to talk about what Gwen Berry did, exercising her right in a non-violent manner, then why don't we talk about them jokers that stormed the Capitol who were violent? People want to keep saying, well, if she hates this country so much, then she shouldn't be on the Olympic team. Well, number one, who said that she hated this country? That's that okie doke. Never mind the fact, whatever issue that she is protesting. So the only thing they see is the act. They're not even listening to the message. And it's the same thing with Colin Kaepernick. The only thing that they saw was he knelt before, doing the national anthem. They never even listened to his message, because had they listened to what he was saying, Colin Kaepernick, he had a point. I find it funny that we think that we're the gold standards when it comes to upholding the rights of people. I find it hilarious that we can talk about China and other countries when it comes to civil rights violations, when we, right here in this country, are some of the main violators of people's civil rights. Oh, and by the way, since they want to talk about Jesse Owens, y'all don't find it funny that she is protesting some of the same things that Jesse Owens experienced back in 1936. She is standing up for some of the same things that Tommy Smith and John Carlos threw up that fist for back in 1968. It is 2021. So all I'm saying is, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't let people tell you, well, look at this person over here. And then they don't tell you the whole story about what that person went through or what they faced. Because again, Jesse Owens, 1936 Olympics. Yep, he won 4 gold medals. Yep, he put Hitler and, you know, all his Aryan race and, you know, the supreme race, or we're the master race. Yep, he put that to shame. He smashed that. But they didn't tell you what he faced when he came back to this country.